Welcome to Joy of Business Radio, hosted by Joy of Business Facilitators from around the world, with special shows from Simone Milasas, the founder and creator of Joy of Business. Are you bored or dissatisfied with your work or business? Joy of Business is an invitation to a completely new way of creating. Did you know your business and job can actually be fun and joyful? If what you are currently doing isn't working for you, listen into this show full of pragmatic tools from Access Consciousness, which change everything in business, from money to finance, staff, creativity, productivity, communication, and beyond. Joy of Business Radio, weekly on OMTimes Radio.
Hello and welcome everyone. I'm Lauren Marie. I'm a Joy of Business Facilitator calling in today from Australia. You'll hear the exotic birds probably in the background. And I'm joined with my friend here, Doris Schachenhofer, which I'm so sorry, Doris, if I butchered your name. Calling in from Austria. Yes, that's my American Australian pronunciation of your name.
And it's not the easiest, you know. So I'm always happy if someone almost can pronounce it, so it's so cool. Thank you.
Okay, so give it to us the proper way now.
Schachenhofer.
Oh, okay. I'm going to have to practice that one, but
it's not the most important.
And it's not the easiest to spell either. But Doris,
No.
I'm so excited to do this call with you. We're both Joy Business Facilitators, and we're both moms. And we both have 2 kids, and I know that we are traveling and doing classes with the Joy Business, and I'd love to chat with you and the listeners today about how do you do business as a mom who travels and manages not only your own schedule in life, but coordinates that with children and working and traveling. And maybe if we can talk about a little bit, how does that work for you? And is that easy for you? Do you enjoy it? Is it hard? What's that like?
I love it. I love to have both things in my life, you know. And it's working out good. And I have to say, for me, it was not always like that. If you see like women traveling around or following me or Lauren on Instagram or Facebook and seeing where we are all the time, it looks like, how does this work out and how are they doing it? And this is always ease. And I have to say, when you would have known me 7 years ago when my son was born, I was this 24-hour mom. Like, I was 24 hours with my kids, and I had this point of view that no one else could make it better than me. So what that created for me is a place where it was only me being with them, and I couldn't like have time for myself. And I told myself that I'm good and everything is fine. And so I also did not invite other people to contribute or to support me. It was all me. Until, a time where it came up of like, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this anymore. It's like, and where it's like, I need to do everything. And where I would start blaming a little bit other people of like, it's all me. And so I saw I need to change something here. And then I opened up to invite other people.
That's so huge. It's such a huge thing with moms that I see all the time, and myself included, those 2 things. No one else can do it as good as me, so I have to do it all. It's like, you know, and it happens with business too. I mean, how many of you have businesses where we have the point of view that no one can do this as good as me, so I will just do it all. And then it's like, how big can your life get, and how much ease can you have when you have those 2 points of view? It sort of creates a bit of a limitation on things.
Totally. And, it's also to recognize that it's a lie that you need someone, because of course you can do everything on your own. And this is like also the strength and the potency to see there is no need of someone, but it might be a possibility of having contribution of other people. And this can look in different ways. But if you cut off all these possibilities of contribution and the possibilities of creating a life where you are included and you can have all and not one part of your life, this is totally different. And
so can you say more about that? So having a life where you're included and allowing others to contribute to your business and your children and your life. So how do you, if you're a mom right now listening and you're doing business or you're starting a business and you have maybe our point of view that we used to have, that you have to do it all, how does someone get from that to a place where you're willing to actually allow anyone else in to contribute? How did you get there?
So in my case, where it first started, I had my kids really close together. Like my daughter was born 14 months after my son. So after being with him for the whole time, we looked at the birth date of my daughter. Like where will my son be? So I looked in my family, in my area, who would be the person that I could trust the most. I was like a little bit of, oh my God, I need to let go of something. Who can? So it was my sister-in-law that I asked if she could be with my son on the day when my daughter will be born. And what I saw in this conversation was she was so happy that I asked her. And she felt excluded in my life and with my kids, and so this was an aha moment for me of, oh, there is someone who likes to support and help me, and I will not at all receive it and let her, because of my point of view of I make it on my own and no one can be as good as me. Yeah. And so it opened there. But the funny thing is, just as a side note, she told me around the birth date of my daughter, she was like, but the only day that I cannot be there for your son is this day, because I'm just not at home. And I'm like, okay, cool. And think when my daughter was born.
That's the day.
So my son was around. It was a home birth. He was around.
Wow.
And it was so funny, because when it started, I totally knew it. And I said to my ex-husband, he just wants to be around, and she just wants him to be around. It is over.
That's amazing. We have a mutual friend that we work with, who's one of our designers, who's in the hospital right now, who has, it's funny because like about a week ago, she said the same thing to me. She said, because she's has a son, he's 2, and she's about to give birth to her second child, who's a daughter, very similar. And she said, I have to find someone to watch him while I give birth. And it was like the first time she was looking at having someone else watch her son. So a very similar thing, but it's interesting because she's going, I don't think I can do both, like give birth and watch my other child. I'm like, no, I think you probably need someone else there other than her husband too. So like he needs to be there with you. But how many times do we wait until something so drastic, like, okay, I can do it all, but maybe like just while I'm giving birth to my second child, I could use a little bit of help.
Totally. And it's like the situations are like, oh my God, now I in a way need someone. And it's not of like, what if we could start asking all the time who could contribute to our lives, if it's with our families or kids or with with our business or what else in any area. And I have to say, like with giving birth, was the first time in my life also that I learned in a way to let go of control. And this is also what's reason for me in business, because this is really something that I could not control. My first son, we planned also a home birth, and it didn't work out. And it was really horrible for me. So I really felt wrong, and I was like, what did I make wrong? And it was not that easy. And I had conversations back then with the woman that supported me in that time, the midwife, I think you would say. And she said, you know, Doris, this is the lesson of life where you cannot control it. And would you be willing to let go and also don't freak out, but also trust of what's happening right now. And this is beautiful then. In that moment, it's not beautiful. Like, I cried and I was like, and it turned out really well, like the whole thing. And it's also helps me still that I know I'm a big control freak, and it's also a trust in not controlling and trust in that there's something beyond that, and it will turn out okay if we ask questions and yeah. So there it started, and then with all this, I was also seeing that I would like to protect my kids, and I know it better. And I was like, yeah, maybe I don't want to spend time with that people, you know. But that doesn't mean that my kids don't want to spend time with other people or with family members, or that they cannot be a contribution, a really big gift for them. And when I opened up to that it's not about me, it's about giving them possibilities of whatever they want to choose. And also see they can give me feedback of, you know, who would be fine for them or not. So this opened up for me. It's not about me. It's about my kids. And then it comes back to me because I get time. I get to do something else. I can also have my life with them, including them. And it's joy for people to contribute.
Exactly. The first time that we actually had anyone else watch our kids was when I asked that question too, like, who would my kids like to add to their life and have in their life? And my kids are 3-year-old twins now, but at the time they were probably like 6 months old, and I was like, I can't trust them to anyone else, you know, other than me and their dad. But I asked that question, and that day someone showed up who was in their lives for a few years and was great with them. So when we get back, I would love to talk more about letting go of control in your business and if you're a mom. So join us after the break on OMTimes Radio with Lauren and Doris.
No one needs to have a money problem, especially you.
Yeah, did you hear that? You have an unlimited and mostly unaccessed capacity to create money and a financial reality that works for you. Simone Milasas has a brand new book. It's called Getting Out of Debt Joyfully. And right now, when you go to gettingoutofdebtjoyfully.com, if you pre-order the book, you'll get a free online course. What if you can create money in ways no one else can? Just go to gettingoutofdebtjoyfully.com to get your copy today.
Host your show on IOM-FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM-FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
Aloha, my name is Jennifer O'Neill, and I'd like to invite you to come join me every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Hawaii Standard Time for my show, Spirit Chat. Spirit Chat focuses on simplifying the process of using the spiritual tools and gifts you were born with in a way that fits into your everyday life. I also teach different techniques that will help you learn how to navigate the spirit realm and empower you on your own spiritual journey. So join me this Wednesday as I guide you through the spirit world.
The number one reason girls drop out of school in sub-Saharan Africa is lack of access to feminine hygiene products. The Pads for Schoolgirls Project, an outreach of Humanity Healing International, is changing this paradigm by setting up sewing programs at schools, teaching girls a vocational skill, while producing the reusable pads that help keep them attending classes. The girls pay it forward by making and giving pad kits to other girls in need. To learn more, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is. The cutting edge of conscious radio, OMTimes Radio, IOM FM.
So welcome back to OMTimes Radio with the Joy of Business Facilitators, Lauren and Doris, here today with you, talking about being a mom in business and traveling and working. And where we left off before the break was letting go of control. So, being forced to let go of control.
Totally. How was this for you? I remember, we know each other now for a little time, and I remember your first long trip to Europe where you have gone on your own.
Where
so
I cried the entire way there. You mean the trip where I dreaded for a week before I left and cried the entire 30 hours it took me to get from Australia to Europe? Yes. That one.
I guess so.
And then when I came home, my children didn't recognize me, and it traumatized me.
Okay.
Yeah, that was that. Well,
so
and I think,
where we can see,
yeah, that was the first time I left my children. I left them with their dad. They were in good hands, but I think it was harder for me than it was for them. They were, I can't even remember how old they were, but pretty young, and they were fine, but it wasn't easy for me, and I knew. So here's the thing. I knew that it was going to create more for me and for them for me to go, and that they would be fine. So that was the two criteria I had. Now, all the emotional stuff that I created around it was optional. But and it just, I would say to anyone who's in that space where you're like, I don't know if I can leave my kid. It's like, it does get easier. But that's the two questions I asked was is this going to create more for me and for them? And I got a big yes. And will they be okay? And I got a yes. And then they did remember me after a little while. And I wasn't gone for years.
But it's where I get it's really about, will they be fine as well? And where I love the question that you asked of, will it more for me and them? So including them. Some people would think it's against family and it's selfish to go away or work too much or have their own business when the kids are small. But it's really, what if it's about the creation for all people included? And this is what's beautiful for me. And what my kids, they're a little bit older than yours. They are 6 and 7 now. And they're really grateful for what they also get to explore and experience, They also get that, sometimes they say, you're different, Mom, right? You have money, Mom, right? So it's so funny to listen to them where they see the difference. Yeah. They would tell me. Ongoing, they're like, you do have money, right? Because they also hear conversations where it's all about money, where you need to look at money and there is not enough money and we cannot spend so much money on things. And if there is not a money problem, and it's also where I tell them, it's a conversation of, if if you'd like this or that in life, it costs money. And I'd like to create this for us. So there are some things that are required to have this and to create this for us. And as we travel the world, both of us, we often travel to like places far away. And one of the places we go sometimes a year is Costa Rica. And I had my kids with me when they were 3 and 4. And from Vienna to Costa Rica, it's a 1-day flight. And this is something that it's such a gift in their world. Like for them, the world is not big. It's like, you go into a plane and then you sleep and watch a little bit of TV and then you come to the other side of the world where it's so beautiful. And they are still asking me if I could take them there or if they can travel with me. And this is what I find so beautiful. Like for me, when I grew up, the world was really, really big. Like for me, it was like impossible to think that I could go on another continent. And,
well, this is the thing. When you're a mom and you are traveling and working, you're actually showing your kids what's possible for them as well. And I know after I went on a couple of trips, I ran into an amazing woman, Chutisa Bowman, who facilitates business classes all over the world and is hugely successful. And her daughter is an adult now and everything. But she and I had a brief conversation, just completely changed the way I looked at it, because she said, everyone judged her when she was traveling as a mom with a young child, and they all thought she should be at home with her daughter. And she said, but what it taught her daughter was, it showed her daughter what was possible for her to create in her life, and that she could actually develop a sense of herself on her own and know that she was fine and that she could, not like she left her on the side of the street, like she, but she was, she had a sense of herself that was like separate from her identity of like who she was with her mom, and that because she traveled away from her daughter and then was creating and doing business, her daughter learned like, oh, I'm me, my mom is her, we both create like on our own, and then we come back and we have together time. But it was this totally different relationship that she gave me the sort of energy of, and I was like, oh, wow. So because my daughter is very much the same. She's very independent, and I know that she wants to like create business and money, and she already is. And she's 3, so I'm like, okay, if I want to show her what's possible, I have to be it, and I have to actually embody that, not just tell her something. Like I have to be that energy myself.
And it's so beautiful. I've seen your daughter, how keen she is on creating business, and she's really a demand in her world too. I love it. And it's also about the point of view of what we think is a good mom, and what we think we should be for our kids, that they grow up great or amazing. And when I look back, I really, at first place, I was like, I will be a stay-at-home mom. Best would be until they are teenagers. This is the point of view. I'm like, I would cook for them. They will have a beautiful home. It will all be prepared. If they do activities, I will drive them, and all these things. And yes, it's also a possibility, and it's totally not wrong if you hear this and you choose this. It's amazing if you love it, if it's something that makes you joy, and if there is a lightness to it, then go for it. But for me, over the time, I felt somehow not fulfilled. I was like, yeah, I can do this, and there's something else that I would like to create and bring out to the world and have for myself, and this changed.
So do you have Do you have a clearing for our listeners, Doris, for those moms or dads out there listening, or anyone else who has that sense of doing, like giving up themselves for whoever, their children or other people in their life? Do you have a clearing for that?
So what energy, space, and consciousness can you and your body be? I would like to start with the bad mom thing. So what energy, space, and consciousness can you and your body be to be the bad mom you truly be for all eternity? Everything that doesn't allow that time to Godzillion will please destroy and ungrade it all. Right, wrong, good and bad, pot and pop, or nine shits, boys and beyonds. It's really where you resist to be a bad mom. This is where you're also caught in the same thing. And if you give yourself freedom of being a mom in every moment, whatever this looks like, it's so much more ease. And
so when you're running this clearing to be the bad mom you truly be, is that going to make everyone be a bad mom, Doris? Is that what that clearing does?
Of course. No, it gives you choice. You know, I had this going on, and at the beginning when the Access Consciousness tools came into my world, into my life, I really have to say I was at a point of my life where I thought I'm a bad mom, I'm a monster, I'm not good enough. And when I got this clearing and I ran it over and over and over again, it gave me the choice, because everything where we resist to be something, it's most of the time where we are trapped into. Like if you resist to be a bad mom, you will find yourself like in these situations where you think about yourself, you're a bad mom. But if you don't have a point of view about being a bad mom, it's a choice, and it's an ongoing choice. So how was it for you? Or did you have something going on with?
Well, I think this is, and we're coming up to a break here, but I think this is a great thing to look at is the things that we're resisting, that we aren't willing to be, and actually running this clearing, and you can insert bad mom or anything, bad employee, like the worst worker, like a failure, you know, whatever this bad thing is that you're resisting. And if you're willing to be it, then it allows you the choice to be that or anything else. So when we get back, we can talk more about having choice with Doris and Lauren on OMTimes Radio.
Have you ever wondered how to change your love paradigm? The secret key is finding a love partnership, not just a regular connection. How do you find these? Through conscious relationships. Ascending Hearts Dating is a dating site for people like you that believes in second chances and a different type of spiritual connection. Try Ascending Hearts for free today at ascendinghearts.com and change your love paradigm. Ascending Hearts, the premier dating community for the spiritually awake.
Tune in to the Practical Intuitive, Mind, Body, Spirit for the Real World with me, host Robin Fritz, Mondays at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 Eastern. I'll cover personal and business intuition, animal communication, mediumship, space clearing, past life regression, shamanic insights, energy healing, soul choice, and more, all to help you tap your own intuitive and healing skills. No ifs, ands, or buts.
Host your show on IOM-FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM-FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
Putting the fun back in business. Wake up, go to work, come home, watch TV, go to bed, repeat. Business, work, your job, hate it, bored, want to leave it? Or business, work, your job, fun, play, joy, fun. Which would you like to choose? You may not know this, but business, your job, work can actually be fun. Shake up your business routine. Check out my 3-part free video series on putting the fun back in business. Go to accessjoybusiness.com/fun and put the fun back in business.
Connecting you with the best of the conscious minds in the world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
So, welcome back to OMTimes Radio with Joy Business Facilitators Lauren Marie and Doris Schachenhofer.
Great. I love it.
Doris, I am going to practice saying your name when we get done. So we left off talking about being moms and having work and travel and kids and letting go of control. And you touched briefly on something that I'd like to go back to, which is having conversations with your kids about money. Because I know for myself, my parents really didn't talk about money or business and at all, except when it was like, here's your milk money sort of thing, and that's all you get. And no, you don't need to talk about it, or we don't discuss this in the house. So I'm curious what's possible when you have conversations with your kids about money in an open way, in a way that invites them to have their awareness and their contribution to creating money for them and for the family, and also just to be engaged in that conversation. So what do you know about that?
I love this conversation, and I love to talk about money, and I have the same, I grew up similar than you. So with my kids, for me, it starts in a daily life. Also, when you go shopping and then kids ask you for something that they see in the shop and I want to have this. And a lot of time it turns out that kid starts to cry, or the mother says, no, we don't do this because it's too expensive, or it's always this because it's not possible, it's too expensive, and all these things. For me, I have the total ease with my kids when I go shopping, and I'm always in the question. Like, I love to bribe my kids. I'm like, this is
great,
like
isn't
we have
it?
together.
Bribery is so good. Like, you notice that my children are very quiet right now. It's only because we have bribed them with ice cream and iPads. I will tell you right now. That's why they're quiet.
And it's so seen as wrong. And I also see when people, and I saw myself before I had kids, when I saw others that would say, you can have this, or I pay you this when you do this, blah, blah, all these things. Before I had the tools, I would say, oh my God, that's wrong. And there should be another way to do this. All these points of view when you don't have a clue about it. And then,
you try and do a radio show with 3-year-old twins and get them to be quiet without ice cream and iPads. I dare you.
And it's like, also the greater life is easy and fun, and they love it, And so I would, when I go shopping, for example, I would be in the question. My boy loves at the time now these Donald Duck books. There are a lot of these magazines, and he just loves them and reads them for hours. And he, of course, wants to have different ones, because when he read one 5 times, he's like, now the next one. So he will ask me a lot for them, and one is 10 euros, for example. If he asks 2 times a week, you can say, oh my God, this sums up over a month. So I will be in the question: what will it create if I buy it for him now, and what will it if I don't buy it? And I can be so clear in to say yes and to say no, and he would never say anything. That is so beautiful, and there are a lot of yeses, I have to say. But it really comes from the question of what will this create if I buy this for him, if I don't buy this for him. And for example, my daughter, she would just like say, I'd like also a magazine, but she's not interested in it. And I got it, and this doesn't work for me. So I have to say she gets more no's than him when it comes to going shopping and with these magazines. And sometimes she goes out of the shop with nothing, and he would have his magazine. And because it's so clear in my world, there's nothing in their world. And I also told it to her. It's not that I only say no. I'm like, you don't really like this. I would like, if you find something that you really like and that you really enjoy, I have no problem to buy it for you. But if you just take it because he found something that he loves, it doesn't work for me. So to be totally clear in the conversations, and also I offered her, find something that you enjoy, that you really love to have at home or that you can play with, and I'm totally fine to buy it for you. And this is good in her world. And
I think it's very pragmatic. I mean, I know in this, like you said, a lot of people judge that, oh, you're bribing your children. But you know what? Threats don't work as well as bribery or punishment, you know. And it's like, I would much rather, so like, since they've gotten a little bit older and I can have conversations with my kids, when I'm away and they can talk to me on Skype or FaceTime or whatever, you know, you can see each other, which is very cool. And the only thing they care about is what present they're getting when I come home. They really don't care that I'm gone. This is like, they're, hi, Mom, when are you coming home and where's my present? And as long as I come home with a present, they don't care that I was gone, which is great. It's great for me for work and travel. So at this young age, it's already like, okay, cool. As long as I come home with a present, they're happy. Actually, the last trip that I went on, my husband was like, I think I miss you more than they do. And I was like, I'm so happy because they don't miss me. And this is really good that they don't miss me, because now they have him, they have preschool, they have 2 nannies, they have like all these people in their lives, their teachers, like everyone that is there, that's caring for them, that's nurturing them, that gives them different energies and different things for them, that they don't need me. And so I can actually go off and create and come back, and they're like, oh, like, yay, Mom's home, where's my present? But they're not missing me, and they're needing me, you know, the whole time I'm gone.
That's so cool. When I started to be away, it was so beautiful. When I came home, my kids would say, hi, Mom, what adventures did you have? I had this and this and this and this. And I'm like, oh, they are asking me for adventures. What's also about what I'm talking about in my workshops. Like, you know, create your life as an adventure. And they would ask me, I had all these adventures, Mom. What adventure did you have? And it made me so happy. Wow. It's so beautiful. And what I just got is when you told about what you have created with 2 nannies and all this stuff, there might be listeners who say, how did you do this? I'm not in the state of doing this. It's not possible for me. So can you just tell us how it started? Because it's not that you always had this, you know. You started somewhere to ask for things that they grew as well. The money grew, and then you could invite all of this, right? Or how would you?
Oh, well, I couldn't even afford a babysitter, like when they were, you know, 6 months old. And I started with a 13-year-old who was willing to come for a very small hourly rate because she was 13, and we were still at home. Like I was making all the money for the family, and my husband staying at home, but like, you know, he didn't get any break if I was working. So we're like, we need to add something here. So that's where we started, with just like, okay, even if we have this 12 or 13-year-old just come and like watch them while we're even at home, it gives us, I mean, you don't even have time to take a shower sometimes. It's like these little things. So we're like 6-month-old twins. So we just started there, and I was like, wow, this actually paying this little bit of money towards having a break is allowing me to create more. And so we started there, and we just kept adding. So my husband started working a little bit from home. We both work from home, and we both travel, and we both add stuff outside the home, but we're very flexible and lucky with our jobs that way. But we just started there, adding to what we have and what would work for us. Like at this point, he's going to start driving for Uber, so he'll be like going outside the house doing that. I'm traveling a lot now and going overseas and everything, and the kids are sort of in pre-kindergarten twice a week. It's like each step we just added as we went, like, okay, what's next? Like putting them in daycare full time wasn't something that we could afford or really wanted to do. So we just gradually added to our lives to expand, like, okay, they have a little bit more care. We have a little bit more freedom. What does that afford us, like, to do, and what can we add to our lives? And we just kept expanding that way. Yeah.
That's cool. And the difference between us two is also you have a husband. I don't. I'm divorced. So everyone who is out there who is a single mom or a single dad, there are two women talking with different situations. So it's really to make a choice and not to go into it's impossible. It's really the question, what are the possibilities here that I haven't considered? And what could I ask for and start asking for that it also can show up in the different ways. So I know that I work with a lot of single moms in my workshops, in my sessions, and often we start the conversation where they would say, I cannot. And when you come from the place, it's not possible, I cannot, you want to change it to what else is possible here. And then you will see it will open up. And at first, we all don't know how. As Lauren said, you begin like you don't have a lot of money, and you see it's not really kind also to not have a little bit of time for yourself, and it's all about the kids. So you just see, okay, this doesn't work for a long time, so what else is possible here? And then, for example, for you, the 13-year-old girl showed up. And then what else is possible? So never give up, and always ask for what else is possible. And when we said the money conversation, I wanna say something else there. We have this tool in Access Consciousness of the 10% account, of where you start to have money, invite money in your life, and let it grow. Because a lot.
We're gonna have to take a break, Doris, and when we come back, everyone's gonna find out what the 10% account is and how do you even do this with your children when we come back.
Yes.
OMTimes Radio.
What do you hate about business? And do you want to change it? If you don't want to change anything about your job or business, stop listening. You're all good. If you'd like to have money just for the fun of it and stop the negative self-talk, check out Joy of Business. This is about knowing what you know about business and creating more than you can imagine. Access Joy of Business 101 classes offered around the world. Go to accessjoyofbusiness.com/101.
As difficult as it is to believe, there are places in Africa where human traffickers sell albino children and their body parts for use in magic rituals. Humanity Healing International is actively working in Uganda to change this paradigm. The Albino Rescue Project finds albino children who are at risk and places them in safe schools and environments where they can learn and grow free from fear. To learn more or to sponsor a child, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is. Are you trying to get from point A to point B and need a little advice? Connect with the counselors at OMTimes Advisors. Whether you're looking for a life coach or a spiritual intuitive, the advisors participating at advisors.omtimes.com were carefully chosen based on their gifts, skills, and professionalism. OMTimes Advisors, connecting you with the best advisors in the business.
Hello, I'm Lisa Berry. Join me every Monday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time for Light on Living. A chance to see new, Hear different and feel more as I shine the spotlight on all the ways to lighten the load of life's challenges. Light on Living is your link to that new way you're looking for, that new understanding that will enhance your life, and that positive connection that will support your growth. So join me and you'll gain insight and start to see things in a new way that motivates you.
Your conscious connection to a more mindful world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
So we're back on OMTimes Radio with Doris and Lauren. And Doris, you left us on such a cliffhanger with this 10% topic, and then we had to go to commercial. So how do you do? So I think probably these people maybe have heard about the 10% and putting aside 10% of every dollar that comes in or euro that comes in, whatever, 10% aside as an honoring of you to have money. So how do you do this with children and as a way to show them a different possibility with money?
So I was wondering when to have a conversation with my kids and how to tell them what else is possible and about this tool. And, it was only last year that there was a moment when we were shopping. I saw these beautiful boxes, these treasure boxes for kids in different colors and styles. And then I told them, if you'd like to have one of these, I have an idea what you can use it for. And so everyone chose a box, and then we came home, and I told them, you can put in always a little bit of the money you receive from your grandma or for your birthday or something to have it, and then the other part you can spend or whatever you want to choose. But there is just to have it for yourself and to grow it and grow it and grow it. And it was so beautiful because my son said, oh, my God, I love that. I will do that. And he's still doing it. And he has a lot of money in his box already. And my daughter immediately said, no, I don't like that. I can put it in. But if I want to take it out, I will take it out. And I had to laugh so much because it was so sweet. And I didn't say anything to it. It's not about like putting it on your kids and saying you have to do this because I know then you will have a lot of money when you grow up. No, it's just giving them the information and to have them play with it and knowing that there is a possibility. And she's not still putting money in there, but then she puts it out. But my son is playing a lot with the money. I see him taking it out, looking at it, and he puts it in again. And this is the beauty of it. And this is what I have chosen.
I love it, and our kids have the fortune of having people in their lives that want to grow their wealth. For Christmas, they got two. Each of them got a silver coin, like a giant coin, just like 10-ounce silver thing, and a silver goblet each. So that was their Christmas presents from a few of our friends, and it was as a creation of future wealth for them. So for them, it's like they're already getting the sense of, okay, this is a present, but it's not a PlayStation game. It's not something that will be worth nothing in a year. It's something that will actually be a contribution to your future. And they like to take it out and play with it and drink juice out of their goblets, and play with their silver coins and all of that. But it's always getting them like used to being with money, playing with money, having money, and creating future wealth for them as well, which I love. And I was never taught. And I think it's great that they're learning now about money and how they can create a future with money.
Yeah. And you see, there can be so many conversations out of this because I could now go to, really, you let your kids play and drink out of silver, but we are almost at the end of our show, I guess. I heard something about a creation you were inspired by your daughter. Tell us a little bit.
Well, my daughter has her toy laptop that she likes to take out, and she goes, I'm going to work. And she goes to work on her laptop. And I said, okay, you're working? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, are you making money? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, whoa, how much are you making? And she's like, all the big ones. I just love that. Like, okay, I'm making all the big ones. And I thought, oh, this is a great amount of money, like all of it. I'm making all the big ones. So I'm creating a 30-day program with my friend Rachel O'Brien. That's going to just be make all the big ones. And like with the fun and the ease and the joy of just, yeah, I'm making all the big ones. So that's starting March 1st. Yeah. And it's
I'm so smiling. It's like, wow. I make all the big ones.
Make all the big ones. Exactly. I know. And Ayla gets 10% of the proceeds for whatever comes in for this program. So that goes to her 10%. Yes. And you can find that at my website, meetlaurenmarie.com/big ones. Because we're going to make all the big ones.
Maybe we yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, it's such a joy, and you made a video of this moment where she had this conversation with you, and I love what gets created out of this, and this is where this is what I love, like the invitation of playfulness with your kids, not this thing of now I'm a mom and I cannot do this and cannot do that and I need to wait until they are like this age or that age. It's really the invitation of what can you choose now, and what invitation can your kids be for you, and what contribution can you invite to your life to make it easy and fun. And as you heard in our conversation today, what we have created and we have now did not come overnight. We made choices. We had a demand in our world, and we made step by step, and we are not done, Right, Lauren?
No.
There's a lot we are
just
asking
getting
for.
started.
Right. Oh my God, that's so cool. I love these conversations, and yeah.
And tell us where you're going to be, Doris, because you have classes all over the place, and tell people where they can find you.
So I live at the moment in Vienna. In Austria, I have a 3-day business class not this weekend, next weekend here in Vienna and online. And then I will go to Lyon in France for a 1-day class about business and money, and a 3-day class in the Netherlands in May in English. And it's all live and online. And you can find me at the moment on Facebook under my name, or on Instagram, and my website gets created right now, and I'm really excited about that.
And on the Joy of Business website at accessjoybusiness.com, you can find Doris, and she's the one with the long name that you can't pronounce.
That's so true. Yeah, we have this wonderful page of Joy of Business and all the facilitators around the world. You are so welcome to just have a look and see who is around your area or what are we offering. And the online stuff is the easiest sometimes also. And maybe you get invited to travel for your first time to a place to start it and come to a class that is not in your area.
It's true, and I know a lot of things that you do, Doris, and myself, and a lot of the other JCFs do, is available online. So you can find intro classes, 1-day class. You see the popsicle is wearing off. You can hear my son in the background now. So 1-day classes, 3-day classes, and all on the accessjoybusiness.com website. And there's so much available out there. I would just really invite you to continue listening to this podcast. And Simone Milasas has her podcast as well on SimoneMilasas.com/podcast. And there's tons of free stuff. And if you start using these tools and even get the Joy Business book and use the tools in the book, and it will change your financial reality to the point where maybe you travel and fly overseas to come to Doris or I's or whoever's, 3-day masterclass, and who knows what else you can create.
Yeah. Totally. It really starts with a demand in your world and a choice and a question, and then you will see things will change. And that's
so. Start where you're at.
That's the key.
Yeah. Start wherever you're at. The tools will work for you, no matter what you have going on. Even if you think you don't have enough money or enough time or enough energy, start using the tools wherever you're at, and it will allow you to create more.
That's true.
So,
Doris,
we're just finishing up our show here, and I want to thank you so much. I'm so inspired by you, and I can't wait to see you again. And I'm so grateful to the Tools of Joy Business and Simone Millicis for creating this.
Thank you for you. And, seeing other moms as well create is also an inspiration, because sometimes even when we have started an amazing business and something, outside of being a mom, it's still, I would say I have moments where I'm like, how will this work out? And then being reminded that it's possible and using the tools again and having these conversations. So, there's never a point of not possible. It's really always the thing of what else is possible. So thank you for you. And
never give up, never give in, and never quit. And thanks for listening to OMTimes Radio.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Doris. Bye-bye.